What a performance by Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers against the Seattle Seahawks. First place in the NFC West was on the line, and the 49ers came through on the road at Lumen Field. Speaking of Lumen Field, let's head to Lumen Field. And for the third time this week on the show, this show is practically the Jay and Farhan show right now because he's one of my best friends at the network. He loves being on the show. It's Farhan Lalji from Seattle. Farhan, you know, another massive game from Christian McCaffrey, and all I can think of is it's like a demo reel of how Kyle Shanahan is committed to getting CMC the football, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you run Shanahan's version of the West Coast offense, a run game is non-negotiable. And they were a good running team before they acquired Christian McCaffrey. Once they got him, it just completely changed everything in San Francisco. And you know that no matter what, they are going to be committed to getting him involved. He came into the game leading the league in rushing, leading the league in touchdowns from scrimmage with 15. And early in this game, they made every effort to get him established. In the first half, McCaffrey had 19 touches, 15 rushes, 4 receptions, over 100 yards, and he can do it every which way. They're so creative in terms of how they try to get it to him, whether it's through shifts, motions, out of the backfield, inside runs, misdirection, outside runs. You saw in that 26-yard run he had in the first quarter, he got downhill so fast with great blocking. Then on the 8-yard touchdown run, there was no blocking. He basically did it all himself. And then in the second half, when the Seahawks kind of fictitiously made this game close, 11 points, but we knew the 49ers were never threatened. They leaned on McCaffrey again, and he brought the game home.
You know, I don't want to call Brock Purdy a game manager, but you look at the stats, 21 for 30, 209 yards, a touchdown, a pick, and yet he still has the top quarterback rating in the league. You know, like from your eyes, you watch so much football, is he showing more confidence? Is he gaining the trust of Kyle Shanahan with each game?
Yeah, and I think you might call him a game manager a year ago, right? And I don't know that Kyle Shanahan would, because there were times when he had to really push the ball and make plays. It did start out with him simply not making mistakes. But if you watch this young man play this year, it's a completely different quarterback, because not only is he making the right reads and the right throws, but now he's taking off and using his legs and scrambling. And there's so much bootleg action in that West Coast offense. You need to be able to do that. But now he's pulling the ball down. He's avoiding sacks. He's taking off. He's making off-platform throws. And there's no panic. Like, you look at Geno Smith, and he lets the pocket collapse around him. But Purdy doesn't. As soon as one guy is close, that's when he makes a decision. And then you also look at what he's able to do in that final touchdown pass. He scans the field, comes back to Brandon Ayuk on his 4th read, and eventually he's also able to operate really efficiently from the pocket. But just watching him take off and run right now, he is doing it with such decisiveness. I think the sky's the limit for him in that offense. I said in the pregame show, we need to be talking about this guy as an MVP candidate, because that's how he's playing, Jay.
Wow, okay. On the other side of the ball, though, Farhan, Geno Smith, 18 for 27, 180 yards. We know he was injured. He was frustrated on the sideline. At one point, DK Metcalf had to calm him down. But overall, why do you think the Seahawks offense was so stagnant on Thursday, Farhan?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's been like that, and it really bogged down last week as well. You saw a game they really had to win against the Rams, and, you know, early on in that game, they had some success. And one of the knocks on Seattle's offense is they get through the first 2 series of the game, and they get through their play script, and it looks great. And then what? And then sometimes, you know, Geno Smith has a propensity to turn the ball over, even in games when he plays well. There's those 1 or 2 moments. He had a couple of those early in this game. He should have thrown an interception early in the game to Ward. That ball got dropped, and then later on in the game, he winds up throwing the interception to Thomas. But just overall, watching the offensive play calling in this game, there was a complete lack of creativity from the Seahawks, and they needed, even without Kenneth Walker, to get the run game involved, because it is about run and play action for Seattle. And when you play a team like San Francisco, you need to find ways to shorten the game. You know, you want to put the ball up in the air and you don't get first downs, and your defense has to come right back on the field immediately. That's not a recipe for success for Seattle against a team like San Francisco. They needed to have a different approach to this, and I looked at it. You know, they had a couple of deep shots to DK Metcalf that weren't close to being completed. It was just overall very, very predictable, and you know, they play these guys again in 2 weeks in a very difficult month of their schedule. When they go down to San Francisco, they're going to reevaluate how they want to attack that defense.
You said a difficult month, because next up is the Dallas Cowboys, who were truly impressive on Thursday. Speaking of impressive, Farhan, Lalji, everybody, from Lumen Field in Seattle. Ladies and gentlemen, Farhan and I were alluding to it. The schedule for the final 6 weeks for the Seahawks is daunting. 4 of their final 6 games against teams who are better than 500, including a tough next 3 weeks. You heard us talk about it. Cowboys, then that rematch with the Niners, and then the NFC's top seed, the Philadelphia Eagles.